Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a couple of things that absolutely revolutionized modern software: Jenkins and the whole idea of CI/CD.
So for the longest time, just getting code from a developer screen to an actual user was, well, it was a huge pain. We're talking about a process that was clunky, full of manual steps, and frankly, a lot of crossed fingers hoping nothing would break.
In that old manual way, it wasn't just slow. It was a recipe for stress. Releases were these dreaded, all-hands-on-deck events that everyone feared. But, thankfully, the world moved on to something way, way smarter: automation.
And that brings us to this really powerful idea called CI/CD. Now that stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment. And it's not just some buzzword, it's a complete shift in how you think about getting software out the door.
Okay, let's break this down. First up is CI, or continuous integration. The big idea here is that developers are constantly, like multiple times a day, merging their code together. Every single time they do that, an automated process kicks off to build and test everything. What does that mean? It means you find bugs in minutes, not days, before a big launch.
Then you've got CD, continuous deployment, which takes that idea and runs with it. See, once the code is all merged in and passes all those automated tests, CD just automatically releases it. There's no manual go button, it just happens. This gets new features to users so much faster and more reliably.
Put CI and CD together and you get what's called a pipeline. And you should really just think of it as an assembly line for your code. Code goes in one end and it automatically gets built, tested, packaged up, and pushed out to the servers. Zero manual clicks involved.
Okay, so this pipeline idea is great, but you need a tool to actually run the assembly line, right? There are a bunch out there, but one of the originals, one of the most powerful, is Jenkins. You can kind of think of it as your personal automation butler.
So what is Jenkins, really? At its heart, it's a free, open-source automation server. Its entire job is to be the engine for your CI/CD pipeline. It's the workhorse that handles all the boring, repetitive tasks so your developers can actually focus on, developing.
But here's the real kicker. This is what makes Jenkins an absolute giant in this space. It's not just what it can do out of the box. It's the fact that there are over 1,800 plugins available for it.
And what that huge number means is that Jenkins can connect to pretty much any tool you can imagine. We're talking code repositories like Git, build tools, even container tech like Docker. That incredible flexibility is why it's still so popular today.
So, you might be wondering, how does a tool like this manage all of that work, especially for a really big company? Well, the magic is in its architecture.
Jenkins uses this really smart master agent model. You have one main Jenkins master that's basically the brains of the operation. It schedules everything and keeps track of what's going on. And then you have multiple agent nodes. These are the workers that do all the heavy lifting: the building, the testing, the deploying. This lets you scale up and handle a ton of work at once.
All right, so all that theory is great, but what does it actually look like to set up one of these automations, or a job, as Jenkins calls them? Is it super complicated? Not at all, actually. For a basic job, you're really just telling Jenkins 4 things. You say, hey, I've got a new project. Here's where my code lives. This is what I want you to do with it, and here's when I want you to do it. That's pretty much it. And this is where the real automation magic kicks in. Instead of clicking a button yourself, you can use something called a cron expression, which is what this cryptic line of text is. This one right here tells Jenkins, hey, every 5 minutes, go check for new code. And if it finds any, boom, the whole pipeline just starts on its own. It's true set-it-and-forget-it automation. And after any job runs, Jenkins gives you this super clear, immediate feedback. You either get a big green check for success or a big red X for failure. For developers, that instant feedback is absolutely critical. They know right away if their last change broke something. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Why go through all the trouble of setting up a system like this? What's the big payoff for using CI/CD with a tool like Jenkins? Well, the benefits are honestly transformative. Teams start catching bugs way earlier, when they're much easier and cheaper to fix. They can get new features out the door faster, which is a huge competitive advantage. And maybe most importantly, they get to ditch those stressful manual release nights for a reliable, automated process. That just makes for happier, more confident developers. And really, that's the question at the very heart of this whole thing. It's about taking the most tedious, repetitive parts of your job and just automating them away. Jenkins and the whole philosophy of CI/CD give us a powerful way to start answering that question, and not just for software, but for any kind of work.